All right, I think we have this going here. Bear with me. This is the first time I'm using OBS to stream, but we hit 4,000 subs. Really appreciate everyone that had a hand in making that happen and watching all the videos. So I thought now is as good a time as any to get back on my live stream game. So that's what we're going to do here. So really happy with the growth of the channel so far over the last couple of years. Obviously, none of that's possible without you guys. So thank you for taking an interest in watching some of my videos. Any of my videos you're going to watch in the future, really appreciate it. So very happy to have found a little sliver of the internet that is interested in talking about movies as much as I am. Because I'm telling you, I'd be driving everyone in my personal life absolutely crazy if they were the only ones that had to listen to me babble about the latest film and everything coming to the movie landscape. So thank you again, but without further ado, let's start getting into it and seeing who's in here a bit. We got Have You Seen with T saying congrats, The View with Drew saying what's up, The Laser calling me the GOAT. Laser, you're actually the GOAT. Thank you guys for all being in here. Dean in Real Life, one of the most underrated, hardest working men in the movie space on YouTube. Definitely check out his podcast if you haven't checked it out yet. He's got some great stuff in there. He says he's cooking dinner right now, but hopefully he'll be back in a little bit. Would love to see him in here. 80s kid from the 90s hit me with a congrats. Thank you so much, dude. Appreciate you always checking in and watching my stuff. Really been great to connect with you over the last year or so. So let's see. First question from 80s kid from the 90s here. He's saying, what movies are you looking forward to this fall? You know what? I'm going to have to pull up a little article for that because honestly, I've been doing so many reviews and videos lately that it's hard to keep track of the stuff that's coming out even like a few months from now. I see Laser down below asking if I'm doing OBS or StreamYard. I usually do StreamYard. I'm doing OBS tonight. I just wanted to give it a whirl. Let me know, does this look okay? Do I sound okay? Just wondering if there's any quality difference. I wanted to switch to OBS for a while because they actually let you do 1080p and don't have to pay anything. So let me know if it looks all right on your guys' end. If we're looking at September here, I will say, first week of September, Beetlejuice comes out. That wasn't one that I was dying to see personally, but that new trailer that came out actually hooked my interest. It looked pretty funny. It might end up being one of those things where they show the best parts in the trailer, but hopefully they've got something for us there. There's one coming out in September, Never Let Go. It's from that guy that did Crawl, that alligator kind of monster flick with Kaya Scodelario a couple years ago. I get a kick out of that movie. I think it's really good, and I think he did the modern Hills Have Eyes. He's doing that kind of looks like a Quiet Place mixed with Bird Box with Halle Berry. That looks good. That's definitely one I have my eyes on later in September. And then I will say, for kind of one last September pick, I'll say The Wild Robot. That new animated movie. I think it's from DreamWorks. That one looks like it's already going to have the tears flowing. I can tell just from the trailer. Let's see. What else do we have here? Got my boy Luke Ponto in here saying congrats. My boy Zack Attack Reviews saying congrats. Thank you both for being in here. I really appreciate it. Top 5 films from 2023. Let me take a peek at my letterbox just to make sure I don't mess this up. So this will at least be accurate at the time that I made it in my wrap-up video. I think like December or January. Number 5, we have Talk to Me. Really good horror movie. I think it was the best horror offering that year. Can't wait to see what those guys do next. I think they just wrapped on their next horror film, so that's I think that was an absolute blast. Super underrated. Performance by John Boyega is awesome. And there's some hysterical stuff from Jamie Foxx there as well. Number 3 is Oppenheimer. I mean, need I say more? That movie was an absolute revelation of from a filmmaking standpoint and from a performance standpoint. Number 2, John Wick Chapter 4, one of the best action movies I've seen, maybe since like Mad Max Fury Road. Absolute total blast. I don't know how I feel about getting more John Wick movies, at least with John Wick, but as it stands, Chapter 4 was great. And then number 1, Godzilla Minus One. I mean, if you heard me absolutely gushing about that movie on the channel, you know why. I think it was a blast. I actually saw that one late. I didn't even see it till this year. I think it was the last 2023 movie I watched. I watched it in January in the theater. Absolute blast of a movie, gut punch of a movie emotionally. Walked out of the theater feeling emotions that I hadn't really felt that year when it came to movies, so instantly knew it had to be my top choice. Let's see. All right, Zach Attack saying it looks like my regular vids. Thank God. Unless that means you think my regular vids look like booty, but I don't think you do. Appreciate you telling me that looks okay here. Oh boy. 80s kid from the 90s saying that he's on a sugar rush currently, so we'll see how that turns out for the rest of the stream. We have Darkroom Reviews in here. What's up, man? Thanks for always popping by. Really appreciate it. So thinking about what I've just been watching lately, I think 2024 has been a little bit of a tough movie year for me, or at least I've been a tough judge. I don't really know which one you want to say there. But nothing's really been scratching my itch outside of a few movies. I really think I've only given like 4 films above a 3.5 out of 5 rating. And in the last week, stuff hasn't gotten too much better. I don't know if anyone has given Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie, a watch, but if you're like me and you absolutely grew up loving SpongeBob, I would say forget that movie even exists. That was a quick 1 star out of me. I just don't really like when they change SpongeBob over to 3D animation anyway, so I'm probably not the judge for that one, but as a SpongeBob purist from back in the day, didn't like that. Really enjoyed Trap, though, from M. Night Shyamalan. I thought Josh Hartnett gave a great performance. I think there was a lot to like there. I understand that it does go off the rails a little bit in that third act, which is, I think, kind of the case with Shyamalan recently, and I haven't been his biggest fan. This one worked for me, and I thought it was definitely entertaining. But then I saw one last night, and you guys know I'm a Boston guy, so I absolutely love my Boston movies. The latest Boston comedy heist film from Matt Damon and Casey Affleck. I'm dropping my review for that tomorrow. The film comes out on Apple TV later this week. It has a limited theater run right now. Let me just tell you, as a Boston guy, I'm upset. Like, these guys, no more free Dunkin' Donuts. They're cut off until they right their wrong here. But one more week from now, or a little bit more than a week from now, we get Alien Romulus, which is like in my top 5 most anticipated of the year. Can't wait for that. Oh, we got a super chat sticker from Darkroom Reviews. Thank you so much, dude. You didn't have to do that. Really appreciate it. Obviously, any monetary anything I make on this channel goes right back into the videos and getting better gear and all that kind of stuff. So really appreciate it. Thank you again. We got Dark Movies in here now. The man, the myth, the legend, Sully in 4K. How are you, man? Thanks for coming by. Really appreciate it. We got Zach Attack asking, do you think the MCU is experiencing a quality decline or an oversaturation problem? Both. In the sense of, like, I think all of the properties that Disney owns, they have a little bit of an oversaturation problem. I don't know. I think on paper it seemed like a great idea, but in reality, I don't know if the TV side of things was a great avenue to explore. I don't think I've really seen any of the shows that have wowed me. I mean, I loved first season of Mandalorian when we're talking about Star Wars, and obviously I think Andor might be the best thing since Revenge of the Sith, maybe even the best thing since the original trilogy. So there's a couple, capturing lightning in a bottle instances, but by and large, I don't know if I would have kept exploring the TV avenue side of things if I were them. And that really leads to feeling like there's a bit of an oversaturation. When it comes to the movies, I mean, the criticism might be a little bit overblown. I mean, I was definitely underwhelmed by stuff like Ant-Man 3 and Multiverse of Madness. And I mean, I think The Marvels was the first movie of the MCU that I hadn't seen in theaters, which is crazy to think about. I think the latest phases just kind of lack a cohesive theme or feeling like there's a greater structure we're moving towards. Obviously, we with Deadpool and Wolverine a couple weeks ago, I feel like there are some tidbits or seeds planted there that make you think, okay, there is some concepts that will be explored as a whole later on that we're moving towards. So that gets me excited, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes. You can ask everybody, ask 100 people that question. 50 will say, yeah, the MCU's dead, and 50 will say the MCU is very alive and well. So definitely a divisive one. AG in here saying congrats. Thanks so much for stopping in, dude. I really appreciate it. Chillmonger saying you haven't seen Craven yet. That is true. I have not seen Craven yet. Good to see that Russell Crowe is really getting a lot of that Marvel work. That and Thor, Love and Thunder, which is one of my least favorite Marvel movies, but I digress. The laser saw Saving Bikini Bottom back in January. Yeah, I heard it leaked or something, right? Like somehow the whole movie leaked online. I saw a bunch of people saw that. Yeah, I don't know. 80s kid from the 90s saying he views his 2024 as a light salad or a small appetizer. Yeah, I mean that's kind of how it's feeling right now, right? Nothing that's really wowed me. I feel like other than Dune and a couple other select films, I feel like at this point last year, I had a higher quantity of movies rated higher than I do now, significantly. But I mean, we'll see. I feel like I find a lot of my best movies in the fall and towards the turn of the year. So here's to hoping. But I have no idea what the future holds. Like I said, I'm putting a lot of bank on Alien Romulus in a week or two. It's just one of those movies, it's made for you. You can feel it in your bones that you're probably going to love it. I would be shocked if I walked out of the theater underwhelmed. This has been one that's been marked on the calendar for a long time, especially with that director, Fede Alvarez. I mean, my God, it's kind of a controversial opinion, but The Evil Dead that came out in 2013, I think that's the best Evil Dead movie of the franchise. So can't wait for Alien Romulus, but that's going to be pulling a lot of weight for me. If that movie stinks, you're going to see me all bummed out. I'll just say that. Have I seen Perfect Days, Turtles All the Way Down, Hundreds of Beavers, Kill, or Beast? I'm trying to remember. I must be getting confused because the only Beast, I don't even know if I know Beast. Oh, you know what? I was thinking of the Idris Elba movie a couple years ago, the one with Léa Seydoux, right? I can actually say I haven't seen any of those, Zach. Those are near to the top of the watch list for 2024s. I need to check those out. I really think I'm someone that's going to vibe with Hundreds of Beavers and Kill. So, I mean, I've heard Kill is basically just an Indian version of Die Hard on a train. I mean, inject that into my veins. I'm so upset that I was away when that had its kind of small theater run. But yeah, no, those 5 are definitely high up on the kind of my catch-up weeks. When I have one of those weeks where I'm going to be going away and I'm stockpiling movies to watch on digital, that's probably going to be the selection. SpongeBob used to be my favorite cartoon back in the early 2000s. Dude, it might still be my favorite cartoon. I mean, I feel like growing up, my main 2 were SpongeBob and Scooby-Doo. I grew up on that shit. So I couldn't agree more. Dark Room Review says he hears that a dope flick called Oddity came out. Got to wait until August 20th to rent it. Yeah, I've heard mixed things about Oddity. It worries me a little bit after the Long Legs marketing campaign because I feel like you have people saying this movie's trash, or you have the other side of the fence saying okay, no, now actually this is the scariest movie of the year. So obviously though, I love those kinds of 50-50 splits from a curiosity standpoint and kind of seeing where I'm gonna, what side of the fence I'm gonna land on. So definitely gonna check it out. Who's the most lovable idiot from a live action sitcom? Oh man, I'm gonna have to, let's see, most lovable sitcom characters. I don't know, maybe like in modern years, I'm thinking like, I don't know, maybe like a Phil Dunphy from Modern Family. I mean, I only watched like the first few seasons of that show, but he was always like on point electric. So Disney's focused too much on their other IPs, in my opinion. Yeah, maybe. Dark Movies just rewatched the Marvels, and he likes it a lot. That's great, man. I'm glad that it works for you. I am not, unfortunately, in that boat. It's very towards the bottom of my list, but. And he's got to go get some sleep, which I thought this guy was the Norwegian Batman, but, you know, I guess Batman does on some occasions still go to bed. So thanks for sticking around, dude, for a minute. A little super chat from Have You Seen with T, his favorite movie tuber. Dude, you are way too kind to me. I don't know if I'm deserving of that title, but I really appreciate the super chat. You know, you didn't have to do that. And thank you so much for always watching my videos. Anyone here that hasn't checked his channel out too, he's got some really insightful stuff. He just put out one of the best reviews that I think he's done in a long time, so make sure you go check that out. Kenny Sparks in here, call him Sully 4K from now on. Yeah, I mean, it has a nice ring to it. I think Sully 5K will have a better ring to it, but, you know, we'll see if we ever get there. The Laser says his favorite movies of 2024 is Deadpool and Wolverine, Inside Out 2, Planet of the Apes, Dune 2, and If. So I like Deadpool and Wolverine. I liked Inside Out 2, not as much as the first one. I think the first one really had that emotional gut punch. I mean, I'm still in the process of recovering from the loss of Bing Bong. But Inside Out 2 was like a nice, natural continuation. I'm glad that it exists. Like, it's not, you know, going to rank high up on my list, I don't think, but I'm glad it exists. The new Planet of the Apes movies, I loved that. I thought that was really good. And that was, speaking of continuations, that was a great continuation of kind of like a post-Caesar legacy. Dune 2, obviously, that's my number one. And then If, I haven't checked out yet. I'll have to give that one a watch. The Evil Dead has an insane third act. Yeah, you know what? Fun fact, might have to check me on this, but I'm pretty sure that 2013 Evil Dead, the third act, uses the most fake blood in any movie production in the history of film. Yeah, that movie was crazy. A little super chat from Kenny Sparks. Congrats on the 4K. Thank you so much, dude. I really appreciate it. You know, thanks for always being an awesome influence in this movie space. You're going to be right behind me on hitting that milestone. So thank you again, dude. I really appreciate it. Whoa, my chat just jumped. Hold on. The Laser, I can already tell this is a good question. Do you hate that movies are going to digital so fast? Twisters comes out on digital this Tuesday, and Despicable Me 4 is now on demand and has made over $750 million worldwide. Yeah, you know, it's a sign of the times, but it's a tough debate, right? I think that, I mean, the short answer is yes. I think movies need way more time to breathe in theaters. I think there's so much weight now on that first opening weekend. And if something underperforms, there's already, you know, a Blu-ray being pushed out in a month or on digital in 2 weeks. I mean, there's been probably this year more than any other year, there's been movies where I miss the opening weekend because I'm away or something, and then I'm actually having a hard time trying to find showtimes near me just the second week these movies are out. It goes back and forth a little bit, seeing as I do think there are some movies that people aren't convinced enough or don't know enough about to go see and use their hard-earned cash to watch it on the big screen. So they do well on digital quickly. And there always is that little bit of like new movie FOMO that I think gets people checking stuff out when it hits digital right away. But if things were different, or like how they were back in the day, in the digital age wasn't as involved, but who knows, because it's kind of just the world we live in now. But obviously I wish theaters were thriving and that everything had like a 60-day to 90-day theatrical window. But I just don't know if that's going to happen at this point. I mean, that's why, you know, Disney made a great move with, I think they had like a 90-day or 120-day theatrical window on Inside Out 2. I think that was a great idea. And I think Obviously not everyone is as big of a powerhouse as Disney and Pixar, but if you can pull some strings, try doing something to get something in the fine print about having a secured theatrical window. Josh in here saying, "What's up, Sully? Congrats again on the 4K. Thank you so much, dude. Really appreciate it. And likewise to you. Keep making awesome videos. I'm always watching your stuff, and you keep getting better and better with every video. So thanks for popping in, dude." Super chat from Zack Attack Reviews saying, "Congrats. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate that. And I really appreciate getting to know you over the last, I don't even know what it is now, year and a half, and hanging out in that movies Discord channel. It's been great. And again, fellow movie creator, if anyone in here hasn't heard of Zack Attack Reviews or checked him out, make sure you go check him out. He's got some great stuff too. And he puts out videos way more often than I do. I'm always slacking. I'm like a once a week type of guy. Am I excited for Toy Story 5? Yeah, I think I am. I think it's one of those things where I don't know, I think it peaked at 3. Like, again, I keep coming back to this with animated movies, just when we were talking about Inside Out too as well. But like the first one had such an emotional gut punch that Inside Out 2 I thought was lacking. The same way that I don't know if they'll be able to really match that emotional gut punch of thinking that they were all going to die, which is crazy to even say that they put that in there in Toy Story 3 and when they all locked arms. So I'm excited for Toy Story 5. 4 I thought was like a nice nostalgia trip, but I don't know if I really loved it. I mean, the heart wants what the heart wants, and at the end of the day, I have never rewatched Toy Story 4, so that should kind of tell you where I naturally land on that. But I mean, if you're asking if I'm going to go see it, obviously Toy Story 5 I'm going to see the first day it's out in theaters. Whether that means that I have high hopes for it, I don't know, but Kenny Sparks saying, "Longlegs marketing strategy got some people in the theater, but they definitely oversold it." Yeah, and I don't even know how much it was the marketing strategy versus kind of like the guerrilla word of mouth marketing too, right? Like, obviously, if I'm seeing, then the marketing team's going to be like, "Okay, let's run with that. We're running ads with all those little pull quotes and everything." So I get it. Like, it kind of fell in their lap, but I agree. But yeah, I love horror movies, and that one did not scare me in the slightest. But Nicolas Cage, Micah Monroe, they are forgiven. They were both great in that movie. What do I think is the worst Pixar movie? Honestly, now, but Cars 2 is really bad. I don't know who decided to kind of make it like a spy thriller on the side with Mater instead of about the racing. I think that was a ridiculous miscalculation. Did you see Inside Out became the 10th biggest movie of all time and is about to make $1.56 billion worldwide? Yeah, I didn't know the exact number, but like obviously every day I see it like breaking more records, and it's awesome to see. I'm sure Deadpool and Wolverine is going to continue to put up numbers. It's very rewatchable, so it's got that kind of like second trip, third trip to the theater type of vibe. So both of those leading the charge. Disney's kind of dominating the box office this year, unsurprisingly, because we saw with those two on the calendar way back when, like, yeah, those were going to kill it. I had to mention Bing Bong. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm grieving. Zach Milne in here. Congrats, my friend, for the 4K. Thank you so much, dude. Really appreciate that. You didn't have to super chat, but obviously always appreciate it, and it goes right back into the channel. Thank you so much. I watch your live show so often. I know you're taking the month of August off, and it's left a void in my heart already, but looking forward to seeing your channel progress and how you come back in September. Thanks again, though, dude. I really appreciate it. Oh, boy. Kenny Sparks moving Inside Out 2 to his #1 spot. That's bold. That's a high praise, but, if it's your #1, it's your #1. I love to see it. I love to see you taking a stance like that, too. Interesting to see after, like, everything that we get in the future, if it'll stay that way. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of, I think this year in particular, especially for me, because there's not a lot of stuff that I'm absolutely loving. These top 10 lists for 2024 are going to be very interesting. The laser says you deserve, I don't even know if I can say that number. I'm just going to say it's 1 trillion million subscribers. I don't know if I do, but if you think so, then I'll agree with you. Just make sure that you send the channel link out to 1 million trillion people. Josh with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, dude. You are the best for that. How hyped are you for Alien Romulus? Yeah, I think that I've planted my flag in the last year or two saying that Alien is probably my favorite horror franchise ever. It's not one that I think is like the scariest or one that really gets under my skin, but I'm just such a sci-fi dude. Mix that with horror. And I think I have a special attachment to it because I played the shit out of the game Alien Isolation on Xbox. That game is way scarier than any of the movies. It has like an AI-powered xenomorph tracking you down and trying to find you, and you're basically helpless. It's like an escape the room that like never ends. Incredible experience. And I think if you play that game, you get so many like captain's logs and stuff. It really adds to the richness of the world. And you play as Ripley's daughter the whole time. Movies. I absolutely love the films. I really love the stuff that Ridley Scott did with the kind of prequel stuff. I really think they were underrated and they're, misunderstood. I think I saw Prometheus 2 times in a row, like right after I saw it the first time in theaters. I think I just went right back into the cinema. Prometheus and Alien Covenant. The only knock I have on Covenant, it's like a double-edged sword in the sense that it's cool that we got to finally see like a xenomorph with ridiculous CGI and like visual effects that we hadn't really seen in the franchise before. But on the other end, a ton of the xenomorph stuff was in broad daylight. So it kind of gets rid of some of the tension, kind of moves more to like the sci-fi action side of things than the sci-fi horror side of stuff. But still, all the Ridley Scott stuff I think is very underrated. I pretty much enjoy all of them or find stuff to enjoy about all of them other than Alien 3. We'll see. I'm trying to do a ranking video for the franchise by the time Romulus comes out. But we'll see what happens there. Saying, what's my favorite sitcom about friends that isn't Friends? I don't know. I actually didn't watch the ending, and I heard it was a good thing that I didn't watch the ending because apparently it kind of just goes a route that people didn't love. But there was a time in like high school that I really enjoyed How I Met Your Mother. I thought there was a great dynamic there. And there's a good batch of actors there that went on to do even better things after that. So maybe I'll lock in that answer. Was there a running TV gag that defined your childhood? I don't know if I would say there was something that defined my childhood, but I will say I quoted the Magic Conch episode of SpongeBob like way more than anyone wanted me to. And I could probably still do it like word for word if I really wanted to, but I won't bore anyone with that. Kenny Sparks saying Sing Sing has been impossible to find around Philly. The movie's website tells me the nearest showing is in New York. Yeah, I mean, that's not a great quick drive to do. Hop, skip, and a jump to go see Sing Sing. I haven't had that problem with Sing Sing. I haven't seen it yet, but I keep getting these emails about like screenings near me happening. Or theaters having it. I'm very lucky that I live kind of perfectly in between like 3 different sized movie chains. Like I have one that's like totally an indie theater, which is my favorite place on the planet. It's called the Coolidge. That's an awesome place to go see all of those ones that slip through the cracks at the big franchise theaters. And then I have an AMC and a Showcase Cinema Deluxe right near me as well. So I'm very lucky that there are very few films that I miss. Because I have a nice diversity of, ways to watch movies in person. Who do I think is the funniest sitcom couple? I don't know. I mean, they're not, I don't know if I would say like they're funny together in the sense that like they have great senses of humor because that's not how they're written. But because of the stuff they do, probably like Homer and Marge Simpson, maybe. I actually been meaning, like, I've been telling myself, I've been going to bed at night trying to get myself to watch more Simpsons. I haven't really done it in a long time, but I do want to get on that. I've honestly been spending all my time following this massive online guide this guy made for the perfect way to read through all of the Marvel comics and to get all of the best storylines and cram everything in. There's like a 10,000 issue guide that I'm making my way through. So honestly, all my free time before I go to bed has pretty much been spent like doing that. And it's been awesome. Disney having a flexible release window is smarter than a set one. Yeah, completely agree. I think if there's demand, then keep movies in theaters. You know, if they want to play like a wait and see attitude too, and say, all right, this thing's doing really well, keep it in, you know. But yeah, there has to be more guidelines about we're making this movie, we'll pay you X amount of money, but keep it in for like 120 days. What's your pick for a Disney or Pixar movie that's perfect for adults? Well, maybe someone that's more mature than me or farther along in their journey that we call life would give a better answer than this, but I'm going to guess something like The Incredibles because I think you get all the entertainment superhero stuff for the kids, but then there is a lot of stuff about like identity and parenthood in there, and I'm not a parent, but I think that that could be a good answer for that. Kenny Sparks, not a fan of Toy Story 4, but I'm still going to see 5. Yeah, I mean, especially with us reviewing movies, dude, like that is one of those pantheon upcoming films that there's no way we don't see that on the opening day. I just don't know if I have massively high hopes for it, but you know, obviously I always hope everything's good. So obviously I hope it's great, but we'll see. Disney's having an amazing year this year with $2 billion movies, but 2025 Disney movies with Captain America 4, Snow White, Thunderbolts, and Tron will not be very successful. Yeah, I don't know. I know a lot of people have been like intentionally hating on Snow White with Rachel Zegler, so you're probably right that that's not going to do awesome. I mean, maybe it will. I mean, kids won't. Families with little kids probably won't care, and they'll take them. I'm very much looking forward to the Tron sequel, though, even if you don't think that it'll do very well. But I don't know. I mean, all right, Zootopia 2, is that confirmed? Like, I thought they were just doing like a TV show for that or something, but Zootopia has been at the top of my list for a long time of movies that I think Disney needs to do a sequel for, and it's been like a total waste that they haven't greenlit it or that we don't already have one. But if you're telling me that that was confirmed, we're getting like official Zootopia 2, I'm pumped. I'm pumped for that one. I absolutely love that first movie. 80s kid saying Toy Story 4 was okay. I'm really excited for 5 because of Andrew Stanton directing it and stuff. Yeah, you know, that's a guy I don't even remember him by name. You're gonna have to tell me what else he's done. But I think that there was enough people like me and you that weren't insanely wowed by 4. So I'm hoping that they know they got to come absolutely prepped and to the gills to make 5 a home run. Zach Attack saying, I think everyone's top list is going to be different, minus like Dune 2 and Inside Out 2. Yeah, I think you're going to see those two up there a lot. There might be a couple like contrarian picks for people just to be contrarian, but I think Dune 2, I don't know how anything is going to unseat that from my list personally. So, yeah, I don't know. What's your favorite movie where the villain becomes the hero? Oh, God. I don't know, because I feel like a lot of them aren't that good. Because like you think about all the modern Sony stuff too, like they're obsessed with introducing these villains that have to become heroes of their own story, which I'm not a huge fan of. I don't know. I mean, maybe you could say Darth Vader at the end of Return of the Jedi. You know, he does one of the most big heroic acts. Maybe like Loki and Thor Ragnarok kind of ends up showing his good side before his spin-off TV show. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll go with those two. Laser's about to hit 2,200 subscribers. Congrats, dude. Keep going. Number's going to keep shooting up. Have you seen with T? Rewatched Thelma, and it moved to his number 2 spot with The Fall Guy firmly cemented as his number 1. Okay. Yeah, I still haven't seen Thelma yet. I've heard very good things. I've heard that it's very heartwarming and charming, and it's got a lot of. I mean, I just said it, but it's got a lot of heart to it. I know it's like grandma, wholesome John Wick, essentially. So I really got to check that out soon. Kenny Sparks saying Inside Out 2 is in the number 1 spot now, but just like last year with Godzilla -1, The Iron Claw, The Holdovers, and Wonka all coming out in December, you never know. Yeah, there's always some like buzzer beaters or, late in the year darlings. I think it could happen. I think I still have this article open about what's coming out like at the end of the year. Oh, hold on. Okay. I could see on Christmas Day, Nosferatu really coming in and shaking up my list. I'm not trying to put it too much on a pedestal because you don't want to ever set yourself up with crazy expectations. But towards the end of the year with like Nosferatu, Gladiator 2, probably those 2. I don't know. Oh, maybe Joker, Folie à Deux. I know it's in October, but those 3 I feel like have the potential to maybe shake up my list a little bit. We'll have to see. We'll have to see where that lands. Do I think Moana 2 can make over $1 billion? I don't know. And the reason I say that, and this might be me just like hanging out on film Twitter too much. I think people are realizing that Disney kind of scrambled to make this movie happen. I think it was, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, if they know more about this than I do. I think it was originally like a Moana TV show. Then they turned it into a movie, and it kind of just like popped up on the release schedule out of nowhere, like a year after it was announced. So I'm not sure if that at all is going to impede its quality or if it's a sign of what to expect from the film. But I don't know if I think it could make $1 billion. It could probably come close. It might be one of those ones that like really brushes it. But I don't know if I myself believe that it could really get there. But we'll see. At least it's not look, not a huge fan of like giving sequels to everything anyway, but at least it's not a live action reboot. I think they're still going forward with that, but at least they're giving us like a new spin on something, a new part of the story. Dean in real life hanging out in the chat. Hey bud, can't stay but want to say big congrats. You're awesome and a needed voice of reason in this niche. Dude, thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate it. Like if even one person values my opinion on this space, I just love to hear it because I would do this if YouTube didn't exist and I was just talking to a wall. So I'm glad that there are some people out there that actually like hearing my ranting and ravings. So thank you for saying that, dude. And you've got an awesome channel on the way up as well. What's my favorite 2000s movie? Man, that is so tough. Just say like my favorite comedy might be like School of Rock. I don't know, maybe like School of Rock, and I've always said that I think my favorite Christopher Nolan movie is The Prestige. I think that's underrated and his best. So maybe I'll go those 2. But that's just like, I'm sure I'm missing a couple of obvious ones that are ingrained into my head. But I'll have to think about that more. But quick answer, School of Rock for comedy. For just like a regular drama or big scale movie, I'll say The Prestige from Nolan, because God, is that a good movie. Is it just me or has this summer felt like nothing? I go back to school in 1 month and I felt like the summer hasn't left much of an impact with last year. Yeah, I think both from like a movie standpoint and from just a life standpoint, this has really flown by. I got married and went on my honeymoon too. So it's like, even though I was doing unbelievably fun stuff, coming back from vacation, it feels like the summer just kind of slipped away. Um, but I did have a lot of fun spending my summer in that manner, so I can't complain. But from a movie standpoint, yeah, I think you're right too. Like when it comes to summer movies, like when you look back at 2024, the only one to be remembered really might be Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't remember when Inside Out 2 technically came out. Was that May? So that would be like too early for summer if that's the case, but maybe that squeaks into the conversation as well. But Deadpool and Wolverine obviously is the movie of the year when it comes to blockbuster standards. But I agree with you. Kenny Sparks asking the hard-hitting questions here. What's next for you, Sully? Is there anything you'd want to do with your channel besides reviews? I don't know, man. It's a great question, and obviously one that I should be wrestling with more than I probably want to force myself to do. I'm gonna keep doing reviews. I'm gonna get heavier into like the tier lists or kind of like director and series filmography rankings. I love doing that stuff. Obviously takes the longest. Like I slave away on like those MCU rankings or like the director filmography rankings, but they always do really well. And obviously, unfortunately for us movie creators in the space, there's pretty much a direct correlation to the longer and harder it is to make one of these videos, the better it does. If I could, if it was like 10 minutes of work to pump out a filmography ranking, then they probably wouldn't do very well. So, you get what you put into it. But I don't know. I mean, off the top of my head, like I want to do some more just like weekly recommendations outside of just new releases. I think it's kind of fun to get nostalgia about movies that have come out in the past. I think because of the digital age and stuff coming out all the time and streaming services, it's easy to forget about some stuff that you really loved and really shaped your movie watching persona. That's something I would want to do. Another thing I've been thinking about a little bit is maybe doing something to coincide with my comic reading journey now that I'm really on this crazy regimen of that, Marvel comic guide with the 10,000 issues in it. So maybe just like doing a little update or my thoughts and something like that. I don't know. But it's a great question. I seriously always need to think about that more because I want to make myself more multifaceted and more attractive kind of as a YouTube creator. So it's definitely something I'm going to consider. You and me might have to have a brainstorm session about that because I need to bounce some ideas off. What's my favorite summer camp horror movie? Best summer camp horror movie. Well, I mean, obviously there's a lot of Friday the 13th to pick from. I don't know if like I'd say those are my favorite. Like Jason Lives maybe would be my like favorite or even that reboot that came out. If I can't think of like anything better, I'll probably go with that. Sleepaway Camp is like pretty iconic. I don't know if it has like a ton of rewatchability, but that's a good one too. Or maybe if I'm talking more like recently, I'd say that like that second part of that Netflix Fear Street trilogy. I think that second one was the one that took place at camp. I think all three entries of those are awesome. And I'm glad that they're actually making more of those because I thought those were a breath of fresh air. And those were just really fun, entertaining new horror movies. And obviously we're good enough that they kind of started a franchise with Netflix. So I hope that they kind of keep up that level of quality because I thought that was great. It's crazy that Toy Story is the only Pixar franchise that has had 5 movies, a spinoff, and many, many shorts. A 5th movie and seeing these characters again is going to be an event. Yeah, I mean, and for that sheer fact alone, that's why I'm saying, like, I'm definitely going to be there day one, regardless of what I think about this movie, like, or how I think it's going to turn out. We've known these characters our whole lives, so nostalgia, unfortunately, is a very powerful tool. So I will definitely be seated there day one. Zootopia 2 releases November 26, 2025, and Frozen 3 and Frozen 4 are in the works as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about Frozen 3 and Frozen 4 about how those are going to do, but or like how good they're going to be. Zootopia 2 I have very high hopes for. I just think that world was very rich. It had so much care and attention to detail put into it. It's super funny, very rewatchable. So, yeah, I mean, that's probably the most hyped I'm going to be for maybe an animated film in general through that date in 2025. Really looking forward to that. Have you seen what T saying? I think Gladiator 2 is going to be amazing. Yeah, dude. I mean, I really hope that it is. I think movie life is a lot more fun when Ridley Scott is cooking with gas. Towards the last decade or towards the end of his life a little bit, he's been very hit or miss. I mean, he puts out stuff like House of Gucci and God, what was the other one that he put out that wasn't that great? I mean, Napoleon was kind of hit or miss. I actually leaned positive on Napoleon, but I know a lot of people didn't like it. But so anyway, that's one side of his filmography. And then you have stuff like The Martian and The Last Duel. The Last Duel was my absolute favorite movie of the year that it came out. I think that movie's incredible and is directed with a polish of kind of like medieval staging and blockbuster intellect that only he has. So I hope Gladiator 2 is kind of like that. He usually plays around really well with that kind of time period piece, medieval, ancient Rome, gladiator stuff, whatever. So I think he'll do well with that. As Prey, it's good because he's got a crazy cast. I mean, Denzel looks incredible in that. Paul Mescal's been on the rise ever since After Sun. And then obviously Pedro Pascal is in everything. I think he's becoming a little oversaturated. I love the guy. I think he might be working too much, but I still really like him. I'm not like one of the people that have turned on him, but have you seen what T asking Cuckoo or Borderlands this weekend? I don't know. So I'm going to like this big birthday dinner Thursday night, which is usually when I try to go see the new movie if I don't get a screener or can't get like early access, so then I can put out a review really quick for the upcoming weekend. But I'm going to a big birthday dinner, and then I'm going away for the or not a long weekend, but I'm going away for the weekend and staying until like Monday or Tuesday, but working remotely. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a chance to see a weekend release this week. Before early next week. But that's why I'm putting out that Apple Plus new Boston crime movie review tomorrow, which I have a lot of thoughts. Might be my most ranty one in a while, especially being a Boston guy. You can't put out a Boston movie and let it get by me if it's subpar. No way. But to answer your question, Cuckoo or Borderlands, just in general, I think I've heard good things about Cuckoo. And obviously being a horror guy, I think it's going to be good. I think Hunter Schafer's really on the rise. And obviously Dan Stevens in anything, but especially Dan Stevens in a horror movie, he always puts out great stuff. I mean, The Guest, Abigail, and now this. Even though he wasn't quirky, he was great in Apostle as well. That movie is messed up, but that's a good horror movie. I think that's kind of an underrated Netflix one. But I'm not going to lie, I'm a huge gamer. I've played every single mainline game and spin-off that Borderlands has put out. So I have a lot of love for that franchise. I mean, back in high school playing 2, it was like the first looter shooter that I really got into. Me and all the boys were up until like 3 a.m. every night of like senior year of high school, beating bosses, getting gear. So a lot of love for that franchise. And I'm just a gamer in general. So obviously I want video game adaptations to do well. It seems like it's just Eli Roth's version of a knockoff Guardians of the Galaxy, which doesn't mean that it can't be fun. I just don't know if it'll look as innovative or creative next to Guardians movies. So yeah, I guess weirdly enough, I think I'm more interested in Borderlands, but I think Cuckoo is going to be better. I don't know what that says about me, that I kind of gravitate towards the slop. But I also have more at stake with Borderlands because, like I said, played the shit out of all of those games. Heartbeat of the movies, heading out to dinner. Had to make sure we came by. Big congrats, Sully, sending positive energy. Thank you so much. Love seeing you guys hang out on my videos in the comment section, and I love checking out your videos, especially because our opinions don't always match. So it's great hearing, every and all opinion of films. So thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Oh, we got Jacob Hubbard in the house. The man, the myth, 4K. Congrats. Been a great year for you. Can't wait to see your channel before one of the top tiers. Become one of the top tiers. Oh, dude. I mean, those are very big, astronomically huge shoes to fill. Obviously, it would be great if that ever happened, but not expecting it to. Just going to keep chugging along. But, been an awesome year for you, too. Love seeing all your reviews you've been putting out. And, you've been putting up some numbers yourself, dude. You're not too shabby. So thanks for stopping by, Jacob. I really appreciate it. Then we have the Cosmic Broadcast, another massively underrated dude on this platform, popping in to congratulate the GOAT on 4,000 subs. So proud of you, man. Your hard work's paying off. 2025 is going to be even better. Hope so. I mean, that'd be awesome. It's been pretty good so far, so if it's even better next year, that'd be great. Jacob Hubbard asking, what was your dream childhood job? Are you doing it or even want to pursue it? I'm trying to think, what was my dream childhood job? I don't know. I mean, it might have been like archaeology, since I was obsessed and still am obsessed with Raiders of the Lost Ark. Obviously, I'm not doing anything to pursue that, but I don't know. I mean, like, I did a lot of screenwriting in college. I did some acting at like NYU's Tisch program, which was really cool too in the summers. I don't really foresee myself as ever trying the acting thing out, but I do want to force myself to kind of write more on the side. I think I'm decently good at it, but I think I finished one full massive screenplay out of college that I need to track down. Kind of like a horror comedy, but I think I want to force myself to write more. I mean, it would be really cool to just be able to do that on the side and then, I don't know, make something happen with it. Cause at least it's like, you don't need to live in a specific area to be a screenwriter. You can kind of just do it from wherever, as long as you submit good writing. Like, who cares where the hell you live? So maybe try to do that, but who knows? Kenny Sparks down for a brainstorm. Yep. You know where my office is, buddy. I'd love to talk shop. If we get Toy Story 6, that means Toy Story 3 will be the halfway point. How do we feel? I don't know, man. I mean, I think it might accidentally, naturally make sense to have that emotional crescendo with the Lotso Huggin' Bear betrayal from Toy Story 3 be the halfway point, because, a natural mid-franchise emotional gut punch does make sense, but I don't know if they've really earned it after seeing what they did with 4, but, we'll see. Have you seen what T saying, let's bring back Sleepaway Camp? The movie or in real life? Do people even do that anymore? I don't even know if kids still go to Sleepaway Camp. I'm sure they do. I never really did it as a kid. There was like a couple things in like middle school or something, or elementary school, where with the entire school we'd like go away to like a farm for a couple days to like do farm stuff. I did really like that, but I have no idea if kids are even still going to Sleepaway Camp. But they should be. We should be on like Sleepaway Camp 18, the movie, by now, and it's a tragedy that we're not. Bring back like the insanely low budget horror sequel that like releases, no one even knows it releases, just goes straight to DVD, and you can just binge and marathon the hell out of them. TJ Billups in the house here saying, congrats, Sully, on 4K, much deserved. Thank you so much, dude. You're going to be nipping in my heels pretty soon. Love watching your reviews. Another guy where we don't always share the same opinion, but again, love hearing all the differing opinions on film and just love talking about it. It's really like my obsession. I would love if that was my full-time job. I need about 1 million more subscribers to maybe even make that happen, but would love for that to happen. But thanks for popping in, dude. I appreciate it. Have you seen what T saying The Martian got overshadowed by Interstellar, but it was great? Yeah, I think The Martian's really good. I think you're right. Interstellar overshadowed it. It like came out too in quick succession. And on top of that, maybe everyone that saw Interstellar didn't want to go see, or wasn't as motivated to see The Martian, since they just had seen Matt Damon in Interstellar. Like, I know he kind of played like a weird little villain role, which I loved his part of that movie. But maybe people were like, all right, this is redundant. We just saw him get thawed out and stir some shit up in Interstellar. So why do I need to go see him get lost in space in The Martian? But I agree with you. Martian is overshadowed by Interstellar, but thought it was really good. That's one that like I need to rewatch too. I end up rewatching a lot of Ridley Scott movies, even though the guy unfortunately is obsessed with making movies you almost can't start after like 9 or 10 p.m. because they're all like 3-hour epics, especially with like director's cuts. But I love watching Ridley Scott stuff again and again. What's the saddest 2000s movie ending? Saddest 2000 movie ending. Let's see. Seeing a lot of Marley and Me on this list, which as a guy that owns a lab, I don't know if I'll ever watch that movie. I don't think I can handle that. But I don't know if this classifies as the saddest, maybe like the biggest holy shit, but it's also sad, I guess, when you break it down, is The Mist. Stephen King's The Mist, directed by Frank Darabont. I mean, if the guy had just waited like 30 seconds, my God, his life would have been totally fine. But yeah, that might take the cake as like the most, oh my God, I don't want to, you couldn't pay me to change positions with that guy, because that was terrible. Good movie, though. Very good movie. Can't wait for me to review Criminal, the Amazon Prime TV show. I have to watch a trailer. I don't even know when that's coming out, but that's one thing I got to do more. I got to review more TV shows. They just take so much more time to digest than movies. I can just sit down, watch a movie in 2 hours, write a review for it, film a video. We're good. But I do need to get more into TV shows. Borderlands is going to flop. Marketing has been awful and is looking to have a 10 million to 15 million domestic opening on a budget of 120. Yeah, that's really not good. I mean, and when I was talking about earlier, I was more focusing on if I thought it was going to be any good or not. I definitely think this movie's not going to make a ton of money. It's not going to make a killing at the box office. Maybe if it ends up being good, that second weekend will be pretty high, just from word of mouth, and kind of not give it a huge substantial drop. But like you're saying, I don't have very high expectations from a what am I trying to say? From a box office standpoint. But I just hope it's like a half decent movie. I'm expecting it to not be very good, but we'll see. Chillmonger's in here. What's up, Chill? Thanks for coming in. I don't think Borderlands is a story worthy of adapting to a movie. Yeah, I agree and I disagree. It's a really tough one because it's so endless in the sense that when you play the games, like there are so many vaults, there are so many planets, that it's the easiest story ever for them to come up with, right? Because whenever they complete a story, there will always be another planet. There will always be another vault. But on the flip side, that also means that maybe there's not enough substance there to really create a narrative story around it. It's great for gameplay. It's great for a video game, but probably not the best for like creating a 3-act structured film. So I totally understand what you're saying there. What was the most unsatisfying romance movie ending? Oh man, I don't know. Maybe like 500 Days of Summer, even though it does end on a satisfying note, but like you kind of feel empty at the end because of what happens in the film, but you're also supposed to feel that way. Like it's by design. So I don't know. Maybe I'll say that. What is the darkest movie theory? Oh, I don't know. Like something that's not like directly put on screen, but people agree there's like dark undertones or like a sinister backstory to it. I don't know. I'd have to look some up. Like I'm sure there are some very good ones. I'll just say a cool one, not anything dark or sinister, but it does take place in a horror movie. I heard a lot of people talking recently about Cabin in the Woods, which is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I absolutely love Cabin in the Woods. It's like equal parts funny as it is creative. I don't think it's scary, but it's very entertaining. Just a super smart screenplay, well executed. But someone said that each character of the main people in that story, it's basically like a mature version of Scooby-Doo. Like every person represents someone in the Mystery Gang Incorporated or whatever. So that's kind of a cool theory. I don't think it was ever confirmed or not, but have you seen what T thought Damon being in both was so genius? Yeah, I mean, who knows if they even like planned it? Like, I don't even know if they really knew what was going on, but the kind of the release windows accidentally lining up a little bit there, I loved too. I mean, like I said, I love Damon. Just being from Boston, all of his movies were just like force fed to me from an early age, starting with like Born and all that. But I thought he had great parts in both those movies. Like I loved he's never the bad guy really, so I loved seeing what he did in Interstellar. Even though he thought he was a good guy, which is like classic villain, like of course. Cosmic Broadcast says, I'm nowhere near as interested in Borderlands as I was Fallout. Even though Fallout was a TV show, I feel like it set the standard of how to make a quality video game film show. Not perfect, but fun. Yeah, I mean, I loved Borderlands. Borderlands, I don't know. I loved Fallout. I thought it was really well done. Great balance of drama and comedy and just all the quirky, random stuff that's known to happen in those video games. Like Borderlands, I have played the shit out of every Fallout game, I think, other than Fallout 76, which we're not going to talk about. Massive letdown. Really upset about it, but I digress. But Fallout, I agree. I think that set a great stage for, how video game adaptations should look and feel, how to keep things faithful to the franchise and source material, but also give viewers that are familiar with it surprises, and also still being accessible. I think it was still very accessible. Can't wait to see what they do with that because of that tease at the end of the final episode of that season. I think it's going to be great. Better Jim Carrey movie, Truman Show or Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind? Dude, that is such a tough question. I might have to plead the fifth on that. I don't know. I'll just say this. I think the Truman Show is more enjoyable by nature, obviously. It's more entertaining to watch, and I've seen it more times. I'll say the Truman Show for right now, but between you and me, I don't know if there's a right answer. That's really tough. Have you seen what T's saying? The Mist is one of the worst, greatest endings ever. Yeah, it totally is, dude. Like, it is... The guy did what he had to do and, like, what he thought he had to do. Like, you don't want to have those people continue on in a life like that. But the same way, dude, just wait, like, a minute. Would have changed the whole trajectory of his life in that film. But classic Stephen King, like, morbid ending for you. Have you seen what T saying he's watched Eternal Sunshine more times than Truman Show? Both are absolute classics. So the opposite of me. I've watched Truman Show way more. But yeah, that is a really tough question. I thought Uncharted would make a good movie because of how great the games were, and boy, was I wrong. So I might be on the other side of the coin with that one, where I thought it was going to be awful because I hate the casting. I think you can enjoy the movie a lot more if you treat it as just like a generic action movie and not something tied to an IP. I think it's easier to have fun with it just because Tom Holland is definitely not the guy I picked for Nathan Drake. And like I said, I'm from Boston, but Wahlberg is nowhere near the guy I would pick to play Sully. I mean, that movie has been in developmental hell for so long that Wahlberg aged out of the role and was originally supposed to play Nathan Drake himself. So that just tells you how long that movie was supposed to be in the works of getting made. But I will say, backing it up a little bit, I do think I enjoyed that one more than I was expecting because I was able to detach and compartmentalize from thinking about it as if it was the video game. Like I would watch a second one of those, it's going to be another 6 out of 10 movie, but I still found it enjoyable enough. I don't think it's as offensively bad as some people are saying. But what month of movies did you enjoy more, June or July? Let me pull up my diary here on Letterboxd to see what I liked more. I saw more July movies. Like June might have had higher highs, but July had less low lows, if that makes sense. Like June, I got The Bike Riders, which, haven't shut up about it. I think that's in my top 5 of the year. I absolutely love that movie. I'm telling you, the Netflix Ultraman animated movie, I know nothing about Ultraman. It was really good. Highly suggest Ultraman Rising if you haven't seen it. Animation is stunning. It kind of fits into that like groundbreaking Into the Spider-Verse style, but really stands on its own 2 feet, and you don't need to know anything about the franchise. Highly, highly suggest watching that one. But then you have like A Family Affair, that Netflix rom-com with Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron. And I'm just really, unfortunately, not a big, Joey King. If you ever see this, I'm sorry. I don't think you're ever going to see this, but not a huge fan of her roles. She looks so young, so she gets all this work, and she is talented, but I just, I'm not a huge fan of what I've seen out of her. But then in July, I think like Rising, but I liked more stuff, like more 7 out of 10s. Like really enjoyed Deadpool and Wolverine. Telling you, I think it was technically a June movie, but Kalki 2898 AD, that crazy Indian blockbuster, the most expensive movie they've ever made. That was pretty fun. I had a blast in the theater with that. And I think it's going to be a trilogy, or it's starting a franchise, so I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes. Obviously, Deadpool and Wolverine. We won't talk about Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie, but I don't know. I'd probably say I hate giving you like 2 answers. Like I keep like not committing in both the questions you keep asking me, but June had higher highs. July had less low lows. I'll leave it at that, I think. Who do I think is the best and worst Fast and Furious villain? Best, Deckard Shaw. Worst, Carter Verone. So I might agree with you on both of those because I can't even remember who Carter Verone is, so that might be the answer. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Probably this, because Too Fast, Too Furious is like, I think, my second to least favorite in the entire franchise. That's probably a good answer. I will say, other than Shaw for best villain, Fast 5 is obviously the best film in that franchise from where I'm sitting. I think it's so good. It matches like the great action. It's dramatic enough, but it really leans into being out of this world and goofy as well. I think The Rock, before he was too big to only take, like, now he only takes good guy roles. Like, he doesn't really do this whole villainous turn stuff anymore. But I think The Rock was a really good villain in that franchise. They used him well. I mean, he was just like built like a brick shithouse powerhouse type of guy. You don't want to mess with him, but I think it worked well. He doesn't really do roles like that anymore, unfortunately. He like has something in his contract probably that he has to be the good guy. And he has to be the main character, which usually the villains are not. But Deckard Shaw or Hobbs is a good pick for best villain, and I agree. Worst villain's probably the Carter Verone guy because I've only seen that movie once and I completely forget who he was, so that kind of tells you. What is this? I heard a theory out there saying that Kevin McAllister from Home Alone grows up to be Jigsaw from the Saw franchise. Do you believe that theory? I want to. I mean, it makes sense, right? The kid from a very early age was making traps and foiling people's plans and mischievous as all hell. I don't know if he got that dark in his college years and early adulthood that turned him into Jigsaw, but haven't heard of that one. I'll tell you that. That's a good one. I've usually heard most of them, so that is pretty funny. Have you seen the movie Primer? I think I have, like, a really long time ago. I remember liking it, but that's one of those ones that definitely fits into, like, rewatch territory. Like, I need to check it out. I know it was like, it's a sci-fi from mid 2000s. It's made on an absolute shoestring budget, which makes it even more impressive with how acclaimed it is. That's one that I definitely need to make sure that I watch again. But I do think I remember really liking it. But my God, it's 20 years ago now. That's crazy. And I'm not that old. So that was like, I was pretty young when I watched it. So the memory is like, I watched so much since then. But I'll have to rewatch that. On average, is it true that video game trailers are better than movie trailers? I don't know. Maybe. Like I think it's one of those double-edged swords where, like, you'll know the second a video game trailer starts, I think more than a movie trailer, if you're going to buy into it or not. Like, the second a video game trailer starts and you kind of see, like, what the gameplay is going to be like, or like what the graphics look like, you might instantly be like, I'm out. This isn't for me. Not going to spend $60 on this or whatever. So maybe there's more of like a cut and dry, I want this or I don't want this, seeing as it costs way more to buy a video game than it does to go see a movie in the theaters. Who knows, though? The prices keep creeping up of, like, movie theater experiences. That's a good question, though. I don't know. I don't know if there's a clear answer. I don't know if there's any difference. Because there's been plenty of movie trailers that have me saying, hell yeah, and video game trailers. And then there's been both of them as well plenty of them that have had me being like, who asked for this? This looks like garbage. But good question. That's an interesting thing to think about. Kenny Spar saying he had no idea I was from Boston. I'm sure you have to be trolling me right now, but I think I literally put I'm from Boston in every single one of my reviews for a Boston movie that comes out. Maybe you're telling the truth and I don't advertise it. I don't know, but I think you're trolling with me because, unfortunately, I think I say it a lot. It's like a toxic trait. Why did I hate Saving Bikini Bottom? I don't know. I think I'm one of those guys instantly that you have me on edge when you're gonna do a movie about something that I'm very nostalgic about and hold to a very high standard. SpongeBob, obviously, like I said earlier, was like my favorite cartoon growing up. I watched every single episode. I mean, I would get into crazy grooves with some of my buddies in middle school and elementary school where a new episode of SpongeBob would air. We'd all be in our respective houses. And during every commercial break, we'd like call each other and say like what we liked about it and what we disliked about it and like what we thought was funny, the best lines, the best gags. And then you'd hear from the other room on the TV, like the next episode starting, you like hang up and run into the TV and watch it. And then we debrief again after that. So like, since I had a ritual like that, the show's very high regarded in my household. So I think I already went into it with a little bit of a negative lens. On top of that, I just don't really like the 3D animation they did. And unlike the SpongeBob SquarePants movie back in the day with Hasselhoff, I think that they tried to replicate the live action human stuff too much with this new one. And that really didn't work for me. And I think the CGI they were using was like an abomination. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. I just don't think it worked very well. Yeah, Kenny, you got to see Ultraman Rising. I think that was, especially if you're like me and hadn't seen anything from that franchise, I think it's really entertaining. And you're going to get invested. There's cool stuff that happens. We got Saving Bikini Bottom before GTA 6. I know, right? Can't wait for GTA 6 though. I mean, it feels like I don't even fully believe that that's coming out next year. It's been so long, but I hope it does. Dean's back, baby. So we've seen Top Gun, Mav, and Raiders. Do you have any other posters, and what are some you really like? So for a long time, the three up there were Birdman, Raiders, and the other side of Raiders, I still have the first Terminator. Um, I think before Terminator, it was Casino Royale. And then before Top Gun Maverick, it was the Batman. So obviously, I loved the Batman. Then I loved Top Gun even more. So like, that one had a quick turnaround. I'm on this new kick though that I'm thinking about because I love how the Raiders poster looks. How it's like the very classic, um, like hand drawn look. So I'm kind of looking at these other posters that are like artist made that are some of my favorite movies, but they reimagine them as if they're like 1940s, 50s, and 60s movies on the posters. So they're very old school. Like I found one, I think, for Alien. I think there is one for Terminator, so I'm thinking about swapping them out for that. Um, yeah, I think that's kind of the vibe I'm going to be going for, but we'll see. It's bad though. Like I'm so I'm able to restrain. I hold myself off from buying a ton of movie posters, but there are a ton of posters that I absolutely love. Like I'd love to get one of The Thing. It's my favorite horror movie ever. Hold on, this is actually cool. I'll get this. I have this awesome collectible over here. I would love a way. I don't have a great way to do it with my set because like I'm not behind a shelf or not in front of a shelf or anything. But over the fireplace, like I have some great movie memorabilia, and Funko Pops and everything. Let me see. I'll grab two things. I like these ones a lot. All right. We got a little show and tell. Going on here. So I've got my crazy. First off, I don't want to upset anyone in here because when it comes to like collecting, especially Funko Pops, I know people keep rare ones like in the box. I'm kind of like an out of the box, want to enjoy it type of thing. So I have like I think it's pretty rare and pretty expensive now, is like my jumbo, like Vegeta Comic Con Funko Pop. I absolutely love that one. That's great. And it's like a great ornament to have in the man cave. And then I have this one because, like I said, it's my favorite horror movie. I have the crazy, like, action figure that makes it look like the Thing poster and it like lights up and everything like that. Those are probably like my two most movie prized possessions in my collection. But I do want ways to like show off more stuff more than just the posters because I am like a big memorabilia guy. Let's see, what do we have now? What do I think is the worst Fast and Furious movie? I think it's the one that's actually titled like Fast and Furious or the Fast, like the not the first one, but it's like the fourth one or something. The one right before Fast Five. What is that called? Let me see if I can. Yeah, just called Fast and Furious from 2009. I think that one's the worst one, but everyone's gonna have very differing opinions on that. I put out like a ranking video for it, I think last year, and I explained why, but yeah, I think it's Fast and Furious. Fast Five is awesome, and Rock is great in it. The one thing that could have been better was Hernan Reyes wasn't a strong villain. Yeah, I think you're right, but I think The Rock makes up for it in that one. But I agree. Wow, Kenny didn't know that I actually was from Boston. That means I'm not doing my job well. I'm going to have to make sure I say that in every single video from now on. I'll somehow relate everything to the Red Sox and Gillette Stadium. So you asked for this, buddy. I know you're more into movies than music, but I'll ask this question anyway. What's your pick for a 90s song that defined your childhood? Let me just check if this came out in the 90s. When did this come out? Oh, thank God it counts. Learn to Fly by the Foo Fighters was my first ringtone ever when I got a cell phone when I was in like middle school or something. So I'm going to go with Learn to Fly by the Foo Fighters. Dean's waiting for Ben Affleck to make a movie about parking a car in Harvard Yard. I think we are all waiting for that at this point. I have no idea. I mean, I think he's got some free time now after the supposed divorce. We'll see, but I actually think he's become a better actor than he used to be. He hasn't been great in the past, but um, like The Last Duel, he did great. The Accountant, that's a very underrated Ben Affleck movie. So he's turning it around. My boy's figuring it out. The Laser loves my set. Thanks, man. I mean, I try to do, try to do stuff as much as I can with it. Like I said, I wish I had like a shelf behind me so I could really, really show more of my stuff. But um, whatever my next setup is, like I want to be able to show off like some of my more cool collectibles that are more unique rather than just like Funko Pops. Like I have some pretty decent stuff, but need a better, more accessible setup for that first. Have you seen Matisse saying when GTA 6 comes out, I will be radio silent until I finish the story, which could take weeks, dude. I was the same way with 5 and 4. It's like becomes your entire personality. That those games are so immersive and addicting. Yeah, I don't see myself doing much of anything when 6 comes out until I finish it. And even then, like that's another one of those, like that and Red Dead. I've always been addicted to the multiplayer servers. It's just so much fun, like bugging the shit out of your buddies or just roaming around doing whatever. So I completely agree. I hope 6 has to be everything that is cracked up to be. We've waited so long. If the game isn't like a perfect 10 out of 10, then it'll be a letdown as far as I'm concerned, which is crazy to say, but it's like there's a couple games like that, right? Like GTA 6, like whatever the next Fallout game is, whatever the next Elder Scrolls game is, that kind of stuff. Like those have to be 10 out of 10s. Chillmonger needs a fever pitch sequel. I'd watch it. I'm not asking for it, but I'd watch it. I know Drew Barrymore doesn't really act anymore, but who knows? Crazier things have happened. Birdman is a great poster, dude. That movie, like, people say that like movies change their life too many times, but that one like rocked my world, like from an artistic and creative perspective, and like how they pulled that movie off. So like it's like to the point where I'll be seated after that for anything Michael Keaton, anything Alejandro Inarritu. That was just a revelation for me. So Birdman, that's like a 10 out of 10. It's been in my Letterboxd top 4 ever since I got the app. So yeah, big fan of that. Big fan. Kenny Sparks is on his way out. Congrats on the 4K. Hey, thanks so much for stopping by, Ken. I really appreciate it. Always great to have you in the chat. What's your favorite comedy sequel that's even funnier than the first movie? That's really tough. I don't think there are many. I mean, you might be able to make the argument maybe that like 22 Jump Street is funnier than 21 Jump Street. Maybe. I'd have to double check and like rewatch them again. Or I really love both of those Horrible Bosses movies. I don't know if I would say the second's better than the first, but I do enjoy the hell out of it. So maybe that. Dean asking, how are you with physical media? Need every movie, some movies digital? So I have like a little TV stand or whatever that holds maybe like, I don't know, what do we got down there? 60, 70 movies, maybe. I've done a physical media like kind of breakdown or showing off my collection for the last couple years. So I got to do one this year. I've added a lot of Criterion for the first year. I've never had any before 2024. But I am not one of those guys that has a massive collection. I don't need every movie. It's really like the just defining movies for me. I'm not too like OCD completionist, even though I am in a lot of other aspects of my life. But when it comes to movies, I think the best thing that could happen to me, because I love collecting and love buying stuff, is already having that TV stand and knowing that it can't fit that many movies. So I like displaying all the stuff that I have, and it would kill me if I had to have like some stuff in the closet or something. So because of that, I think by nature, I've kept my Blu-ray and 4K section pretty low. just been like the hard hitters that I really want in like box sets, like, you know, like John Wick box sets, or like Mission Impossible box sets, or Jurassic Park, or Lord of the Rings. I'm a big box set guy. I think for some reason I'm like more apt to own physical media if it's like a 3 movie set or something. I don't know why. I just think they're cool too. They usually come with like cool covers. Like I still have like my I think I have like, it might be at my dad's house, but there's a couple box sets, and there might even be like DVD. I don't think they're VHS, but there's like a couple unbelievable DVD box sets I have of like Terminator, where it's like a T1000 in stainless steel on the front that's like all popped out. Or in like the same thing for Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, which is crazy to say. It's like my least favorite of like the Jurassic Park, not including Jurassic World, but the Jurassic Park films. I think that's kind of a hot take, but I'm also like a huge Jurassic Park 3 defender. But when it comes to physical media, I do need to do my new 2024 collection video, but don't expect anything too crazy. Like I said, I'm kind of just the guy that I want to own just the stuff that I think is the best. So if it's in my collection, I rank it very highly. Do you love the SpongeBob Christmas song? I probably love every SpongeBob song that SpongeBob's ever come out, but I don't know if anything will beat Striped Sweater or the Fun song. Those are probably the 2 best ones. Have you seen with T? How many movies have you seen this year? Let's look. I think, go to my Letterboxd stats here for 2024. They take like a second to load because they're really like crunching a ton of data. So bear with me here. So 2024, I have seen kind of, actually, I don't know if it's low for me, but I've seen 84 movies this year. I wonder how that compares to the amount I've seen in previous years up to this point, but yeah, 84. I don't know if it'll tell me. 39 of which are 2024 releases. So not like a ton. I've kind of stopped like speed running. Like in previous years, I think there was a couple years where I was just seeing anything and everything if it was that came out in that year, so I had a chance to review it, or just so I could up like my Letterboxd stats. I honestly think it was having me like digest films less, and I'm kind of at a point in my life where I really want to be able to like give stuff space to really be broken down in my head and think through stuff and be more critical. And I don't even know if there are any other words to describe it, but so yeah, only seen like 40 new 2024 movies, but I have, if you were around when Zack Attack was in here firing off some films that I missed, I have a lot to catch up on. I always do, but I'll get to it soon. Congratulations on 4K. What are your thoughts on a potential Top Gun 3? Well, thanks for the congrats, Andre. Appreciate you being in the chat here. Again, it's like one of those things, like total mixed bag, right? Because Top Gun Maverick, one of my favorite movies ever, favorite movie of the year it came out, which was that just last year? It's crazy. Like I feel like it's so popular and it left such an impact that it almost feels like it came out 3 or 4 years ago. But no, 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago. But I don't know. I think they really caught lightning in a bottle with that Legacy sequel. No one knew what to expect, and we were kind of like just shrugging it off, which I think added to how well received it was, because no one was expecting it to be that incredible. I think if there's a legitimate story to be told, go for it. But I think if it's just like another Tom Cruise, Miles Teller, Glenn Powell, even though I'm a massive Glenn Powell guy, kind of like led adventure that I don't know. Like, it doesn't seem like it really needed to exist. And then obviously I'm going to be upset about it. Um, but I guess Top Gun Maverick taking so long to come out only kind of like made it better because we had all those legacy aspects that tied into it with like Val Kilmer and stuff. And it kind of concluded Tom Cruise's character, Maverick's kind of like never ending Peter Pan, never wanting to grow up and never take life serious story. It ended it really well. So there's a lot of things that concluded perfectly with that movie. So I don't know. Again, though, like we were talking about with Toy Story 5 earlier, obviously that's a film that I'm going to be there. The earliest that I can see that film, I'm going to be having my butt in a seat in the theater. Dean says he feels really similarly about Birdman. My man, I knew you would. Saw Whiplash and Birdman back to back, and it was super impactful. I mean, those are like two of the best movies, man. Definitely two of the best of the 2010s. Yeah, I mean, back to back. That is an emotional like 4 hours. I'll tell you that. Yeah, those both rock. I mean, those are like two movies where I feel like they're great to introduce them to somebody that's looking for movie recommendations that doesn't really watch films that much. It kind of like reminds people of the power that stories like that have. Like, there's no one that I have recommended those two movies to that hasn't texted me after just being like, whoa. So yeah, I think those both rock. They're so important. Really shows you the power of great storytelling and great performances. I mean, that basically made Miles Teller a star. And rightfully so. Him and J.K. Simmons are incredible in that. And going back to Birdman, I mean, I know it won Best Picture. I think Keaton should have won Best Actor for that as well. I don't even I'm singing his praises right now. I'm not even like the biggest Keaton guy, but I just think, destiny came to him for that role because it was already about like a guy that was washed up from playing superhero roles and wanted to be taken seriously in other avenues of his career and other acting mediums. So it obviously seemed like it was tailor-made for him, and he just crushed it, maybe because it was kind of similar to his real life experience. He's never put out a performance that good, and he'll never put one out that's that good again. But yeah, I think he should have won. I think he should have won Best Actor for that. But both, like, arguably, like, people say movies that change their lives, I think, too loosely. But those two movies are like the closest thing there is to like life changing. They're just so good and they're powerful. Will physical media die because Redbox is shutting down for good and Best Buy will stop buying physical media altogether very soon? I don't know. I don't think so. I think we're complaining a lot about stuff not getting like Blu-ray, mix them together. Blu-ray and 4K releases. Blu-ray would actually probably be like a good slang term for like a Blu-ray. It's Blu-ray and 4K together. But anyway, I need to look this up again myself, but I think people would be surprised, myself included, by how many people out there are still buying DVDs. Like, I think when you look at like the physical media breakdown for what everyone's purchasing every year, like people will still buy a shit ton of DVDs, which shocks me. Like, I guess there are tons of people out there that don't have like an Xbox, because obviously if you have an Xbox, by design, you also have like a 4K Blu-ray player. And I guess that maybe I take that for granted. And there's people that don't play video games, obviously won't have that. So they might not go out and just buy a player for the hell of it. But I don't think physical media is going to die. I think you could make the argument that it is currently dying, just because, there's the power of the streaming service and everything's digital now. But I don't think that it's going to actually, you're not going to see it go anywhere. Like, there are some movies out there that I think it's baffling that there aren't Blu-rays and 4Ks for. But for the most part, I don't think that you're 9 times out of 10 a year from now, any movie that's out in 2024, I don't think you're going to have a hard time finding a Blu-ray or 4K for it. I think that'll still be the case in like 5 years as well. Oh, thank God my buddy Woods North is here. Don't worry, I'm here. Sorry I'm late. That's okay. But that's a strike. You're on thin ice. Meters Reviews is in here. Sully, congrats on 4K. What are you checking out this week? Bunch of picks with Borderlands, Cuckoo, It Ends With Us, DD. The list goes on. So I'm going away this weekend, and I'm going to like a birthday dinner Thursday night. So I'm kind of screwed when it comes to new releases this upcoming week. I have a review coming out tomorrow for the new Apple Plus movie coming out with Matt Damon and Casey Affleck, which is like the new Boston crime comedy. It is not good, but unfortunately, that might be my fill for reviewing something this week. But just from like an interest standpoint, I was saying earlier, I'm more curious about Borderlands just because I played all the games and I'm a huge gamer. And I loved those in high school. So I kind of just want to see if they're going to be faithful to the franchise at all, just because I had a lot of skin in the game at one point, But I think Cuckoo will probably be the best film that's released this weekend. Always down for some kind of weird horror movie, and when Dan Stevens is in a genre like that, he usually kills it. So I think Cuckoo will probably be the best movie released this weekend, but I'm unfortunately the most curious about Borderlands. Dean's saying some BTS YouTube talk. What's some things you've learned recently about building your channel and connecting with your audience? I don't know. I think like the movie space is so tough, right? Because if you only try to do something like reviews, you're competing with so many people, on top of the fact that you're competing with people that have made a name for themselves doing that like a decade ago. Like, no one's going to click on my review for the most part if Stuckman and Jeremy Johns has one out already. So I honestly think a way to connect with your audience is more so just how you improve your own content personally. Like I've done a lot of work on just the thumbnails and titles. And I don't know, like trying to be a little bit more colloquial, more attention grabby, but also nothing that's ever false advertising. Like that's obviously like a tightrope walk. One thing I need to get better about is like, how many people have we been talking to in this live stream already? Like I need to get better. This is only like, I looked it up. I never did it like religiously or anything. I think this is just like my 16th or like my 12th live stream ever. You have tons of guys that I'm friends with in this space that they're going live like 2 to 3 times a week. So I definitely have to do that better. But I don't know. It's tough, right? Because it's tough finding ways to personally connect with anyone that's watching your video, because you put out a video not knowing what people are going to think of it. Then they kind of let you know what they think of it. And you're like, oh, okay, I got this kind of feedback. I'll try this next time. And it's just like, it's very slow realization of what works and what doesn't work. That's why I think you see some guys like blow up instantly, because they're just lucky enough that like they picked something that had like a mass appeal and then they just stick with it. But yeah, I think just like fresh ideas for videos that aren't just reviews, for myself at least, like breaking out of that mold a bit. We have like a fun movie Discord channel that we talk on with some other creators too, which like I think is like fun to like bounce ideas off guys and stuff, but it's tough. There's not a great answer. I think identifying like a space where there's content that doesn't exist that you were really hoping that you would like watch the hell out of, like you just make it yourself if it's feasible. Obviously, like nothing that's cost millions of dollars. Like obviously I'd love to make a video about me buying and renovating a movie theater or something. I'd watch the shit out of that, but I don't think that's in my budget anytime soon, especially after getting married this year. But it's tough. I will say this, like, and I think you've maybe noticed this, maybe not. I try to stay away. Like I was saying this earlier, I think for better or for worse, because it takes so much time and energy. But I truly believe like the video ideas you come up with that take longer to make, like if you're putting out a video and you're like, oh my God, I want to put out this video, people would click on that instantly, but I'm going to have to watch 40 movies to make this happen. Obviously, there's a lot of time and effort that are going to go into that, not just filming and editing. Like you have to sit down to watch like 40 movies. I can tell you that people innately are drawn to videos that are harder to make. Like it's no surprise that I think like 2 out of my top 4 videos ever are me ranking filmographies, going like movie by movie of a director's career view. So I don't know. I don't like maybe even view it like a movie studio, right? Like how, establishing goodwill as an actor, as like a big name actor, like if you have a passion project you want to do, you have to kind of suck up your pride and do like a movie for the studio, and then that studio will fund your passion project, right? And trust me, I have fun making like it's not a one-to-one comparison because I have fun making all different types of content, but there's definitely content that's harder to make. So I honestly think maybe like one video for you that you really want to talk about, and then one video that like your audience would go nuts for, or something that has potential to bring in a lot more viewers. So yeah, I mean those filmography rankings I get like a ton of subs from those. I will say this, Dean, though. I think I've seen it naturally progress so many times in my own channel that I can't be convinced otherwise. I really think like the YouTube algorithm is like a tier system. Like I think as you feed the algorithm, give it more what it wants to see, analytics wise, like I think a guy that like, I think the best way to compare it is like if you have 2 channels, one that has like 100 subscribers, one that has like 10,000 subscribers. I think if you make a banger of a video that's not like crazy viral potential, but like for you is a very good video, I think the peak for that guy that has like 100 subs is maybe that video gets like 10,000 views, which would be incredible. But I think if you have like 10,000 subs and make that same banger of a video, that could reach 100,000 views. Like I really think like the algorithm is a tier system that rewards your channel based off past performance and decides how many people it's going to put out based on some of the past videos you've done on a certain topic and how they'll, I look back at videos I did like a year ago that I was super happy with the results, like view wise and like wise and comment wise. And they are so low compared to my baseline now. And I always kind of compare it, like people ask me about growing on YouTube, I almost compare it to like, someone going on like a fitness journey. Like if you're getting in shape, you do that little by little, day by day, and it takes you a long time to notice that you're even making any changes because you see yourself every day. It's such a slow, gradual change. But then if you like see someone that hasn't seen you in 6 months, the last time they see you, you were like out of shape, they're going to notice a huge difference. So it's like, I didn't notice until I like look back at my old videos that I was like, wow, I was really proud of that one. But I remember I was like obsessed with how well that did, but it only got 200 views. So it's just crazy seeing like how much it's a tiered system. And I think YouTube is better and more is more easy to explain and understand if you treat it like it's like a video game. Like, you do certain tasks, you get to the next mini boss, then a boss, you beat that and you get to the next level. And then it's always just like, climbing a ladder. So that was an insanely long-winded answer, but obviously as someone that has a channel that tries to put out content every week and tries to grow with every single video, like honestly, the only thing I think about like maybe as much as movies is how to do the YouTube stuff. So hope something of that was helpful. Immediately Google's how to trademark Blue K. Dude, give me like 10%. Honestly, I don't know how to trademark anything, so you can handle that, but I'm clicking those. Big YouTubers can suck it. JK, I watched them all. Dude, yeah, I mean, like, it's interesting. Like, I think I feel who I gravitate to more now that I'm putting my own opinions on the internet and being very public about it. um, you kind of notice like who you vibe with more. Like what's kind of interesting is before I did this, I was a big Stuckman and Sean Chandler guy, and those guys are awesome. They've got so much to offer the space, and I think they're great. But for some reason, I never watched Jeremy Jahns before I started making videos, and now I like watch a lot of Jeremy Jahns. Um, but there, it goes back and forth. I actually just like I'm in a stage right now. I love connecting with people, so I will almost go out of my way to find ways to filter it in the search bar that I find like very low view counts of new movie reviews that are just put out, and like seeing, what other people are saying, and connecting with people that are brand new that just like haven't cracked the algorithm code. I just think that's kind of fun to do because there's so many good people on this platform doing stuff, but they, getting noticed is a completely different beast, unfortunately. That slow realization is a great point. I've tried to throw as much stuff at the wall to see what sticks, and it feels like that. Yeah, and I think that's important. I think not only for your audience or attracting newcomers, I think just to figure out what you like doing too. Like there might be a new style of video that you haven't tried yet that, you put one out for the hell of it and you end up loving it, and then it becomes like a mainstay segment on your channel. I think that could happen a lot. I mean, it was a long time. I know so many people do them, so it's not like it was some brand new idea, but so many like I went years without doing like a ranking video, and then I just realized I actually really like it. I think I kind of figured out I liked it more too after realizing that I didn't share the same opinion as a lot of the big YouTubers that were putting out their lists. And obviously, I think that's the most exciting part about a ranking video is, if everyone had the same opinion and same order of like movies they liked in a certain franchise, then it's so boring. Like that's one of the critiques in like kind of troll comments I'll never understand is when anyone comes onto my channel saying like this is ridiculous. Like everybody loves this movie. It has like an 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. How could you think that it wasn't that good? Like I'm like, you're just mad because my opinion wasn't the same as yours. Like that sounds so boring. Like there's no discussion to be had between two guys that kind of just feel the exact same way about any piece of art. So I unfortunately get like a little too chippy in those comment replies, being like, dude, you gotta like learn how criticism and feedback works, because talking about any art when everyone feels the same way about it is just kind of boring. You want people bringing new stuff to the table, positive and negative, but that's life, baby. Mike's in here, 4K subs, let's effing go. I don't think I've actually like ever said the F word on YouTube before. I think like shit, ass, that might be like the furthest I've ever gone. Like I try to like stick under like, I don't even know if YouTube like checks that stuff, right? Of like, if you say the F word, is it going to not recommend it to certain audiences and stuff? But just in case, LFG. I can't even like think of like a quick-witted joke. No, I'm not watching Meg 2 in celebration. Although I love talking about Meg 2 on Luke Ponto's streams, I'll tell you that. That's like my favorite thing. I can't help it. Like anything that he's watching or streaming, whatever topic it is, I have to relate it to Meg 2. I can't help myself. All in good fun. For me, at least. I hope he doesn't think that I'm being serious. Dean saying, yeah, more Meg 2 talk. Rank the Meg movies. I don't know, man. We'll see. They're definitely going to do a third one, so I could put out a ranking next year. Because right now it's like Meg 2. Like Meg 2 way, way down. I actually read the book, the first Meg book, and I really liked it. So hopefully they kind of like do stuff that's more faithful to that. But I'm sure there'll be like 4 or 5 Meg movies when it's all said and done, for better or for worse. Gotta head out, but congrats and thanks for the thoughtful answers. Excited for where you're headed. Dude, I appreciate you being here, especially for so long. I know we thought you weren't even going to be in here because you were cooking supper and then doing whatever, but I appreciate you poking your head in. Again, anyone that hasn't checked out Dean's channel, he's got some great stuff. You can tell he cares a lot of attention to detail, great production value, which I think is seriously half the battle. Making stuff behind you look attractive and whatnot. I'm telling you, I need to up my game. I got a lot of blank space here, but you got to go check out what Dean's doing over on his channel. He just started doing a full podcast type stuff. Oh my God. T with the tough questions here. What's my favorite Statham movie? So I'll say, like, I think my favorite actually, like, good by movie standards and film critic standards Statham movie is probably that first Transporter film. He does all of his own stunts in it. It's an easy, digestible story, which is great to make it like a total breezy, badass action flick. And I just think that one is just so much fun. I've rewatched that one so many times, especially that like poker scene that he kicks down the door in and like messes those guys up before he steals the car. I think Transporter is just a great like resume builder for everything that he can bring to the table. When it comes to just like all out ridiculous Statham movies that aren't good by legitimate standards, but have addicting action, when I was younger, I bought it on digital without even really knowing what it was, but I watched Death Race like 30 times. I think that movie's so much fun. That might be one that I'm talking about right now. Like I might need to rewatch that tonight. I think Death Race is a blast. Tons of memorable fights in that. It's like gritty. It's dirty. It almost has like a Rocket League / Gladiator aspect to it with all of the races to, it's a kind of video gamey where these guys are trying to like level up and win their freedom. So I don't know. I think from like a laughs and entertainment standpoint, I think maybe Death Race. No, all right, Mike, I do really like Crank as well. I think both of those movies are hysterical, and I almost feel like they should only be watched as a double feature. Like I feel like you need that like full like 3 hours or 4 hours, whatever it is. Like, I think that you need to just like watch that as one continuous, insane, overstimulated package. Did you see any of the direct to streaming Death Race sequels? I think I might have seen the first one. I don't know. I think maybe the first one, and then I think there's a third. I don't remember if they go past that, but I think only the second movie in the franchise. I'm not even sure about that. I mean, you tell me if they're any good. I could see that. I could see something like that direct to video really suffering just because they probably really cut back the budget, and the budget's a big part of the spectacle in that there are like 4 or 5 of them. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. I should just like, to compare quality, I should just watch the first one and then immediately watch the 5th one. Like I can't even imagine what that's going to look like. It's probably going to look like the like later seasons of The Flash on the CW. I have no idea. All right, well, we somehow made it to the end of this chat. It's almost 9 p.m. Eastern. My wife really wants to watch a movie tonight. I don't even really know what's on the docket. I think she wants to watch Where the Crawdads Sing. I don't know if anyone's seen that, but she really digs that. I'm shocked that this is the first time I'm watching it because if there's a movie she loves, usually it's getting put in front of my face on the big screen TV immediately. But I think that's what's on the... like tonight, I'm pumped. It's like I'm going to watch a movie with her, and then she's going to go to bed, and I'm going to keep reading all these Marvel comics that I've been keeping up with on that crazy online guide. Like the goal, which is crazy because there's like 10,000 issues. The goal is to like read all these comics. Like I at least want to get up to Secret Wars before the actual Secret Wars movie comes out. But regardless, I've got a lot of material, a lot of nerdy stuff ahead of me, and I'm pumped about it. But appreciate everyone that checked in here, all the congrats, all the super chats. It's definitely not required or needed, but I really appreciate you guys doing that. Can't wait to see where the channel kind of goes from here. Um, and I just think it's been awesome kind of getting to know this community, because I'm so deathly obsessed with movies that I would talk about this with like a rock on the side of the street. So the fact that I actually have an outlet for it is awesome. And everyone that I've come across has been so much fun to converse with and kind of talk films with. So it's been great. Um, guys like Mike, guys like T in here sticking it out till the end. I absolutely love to see it. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. I promise, I say this every time, I promise I will try to do more live streams, because I always forget just like how much fun they are, but they just kind of get lost in the wayside. But until then, get your butts out there to the theater, watch a movie or two, make a day of it. And I will see you guys with my next review tomorrow for the Instigators. Don't hold your breath on it being a good film, but hope to see you guys on that video tomorrow. So, signing off. Take it easy, everyone. Thanks again for checking in.